Right. So yeah, what causes social anxiety? I think most people know, right? Most people who suffer with social anxiety or who have it, bullying causes it at the root cause of most social problems and self-esteem and confidence. It's the bullying when you're younger, when we're younger, right? It's the bullying that breaks you down to begin with. But this is really positive advice for anyone. You know, any young man or any young woman or of any age who has been dealing with social anxiety or struggling to talk to people and socialize and having fear and not feeling confident and I align all these things to really caring about what other people think about you and being frightened of being criticized. Let me give you some life experience from my life, and I know I'm so confident this will help you if you apply it, right? And again, that's not asking you to copy me or try to be me. You never want to do that. Obviously need to be yourself. You need to have your own, have your own common sense. You use your own common sense, but you can apply the same teaching. So when I was younger, I think I was naturally quite trusting with people and quite easygoing and carefree and quite confident, right? I wasn't say I was the most confident person, but I was quite fearless. But then when I started school, that's when there was all different kids at my school, and there was some gangs, and the area I grew up in was rough. So I first started getting bullied at school, and then I started seeing kids getting bullied, and I seemed to be targeted quite a lot. And I think that was because I did have quite I wasn't a soft kid, but I had a soft nature, and I was kind of introverted, and I suppose I was maybe a little bit socially different in the sense I could go quiet and stuff. And when I was younger, people would target that as a weakness. They'd think if you were quiet and you wasn't loud, it was because you were soft, you were scared. So I started to receive a lot of bullying, and of course, it always starts off with being laughed at. In my experience, yeah, I'll get to the physical bullying in a second, right? But I think what hurts people more personally, what hurt me more, was more than when I first was getting, punched and kicked and people trying to, take your money and in school they would rush you, at a group. So being laughed at for me really broke my confidence down when I was younger. That's what made me socially paranoid, socially anxious. That's what made me start thinking, oh, people are thinking bad things about me, or they're laughing at me, or they think I look stupid, or they think I sound stupid. So I got, people made fun of me growing up in school. They took the mick out of how I looked, because when I was younger at school, I didn't look the way I look now, right? I wasn't as handsome as I am now. But yeah, I wore glasses, and I had like a bit of a side part in, so I looked a bit geeky, right? That's not what I'd call myself, but that's what the kids called me, right? So I looked a little bit unassuming. I looked a little bit like an easy target, right? So they would laugh at me and stuff, and then I'd get angry. You get upset when you're a kid and someone laughs at you. It's such a hurtful thing. It's different when you're an adult. You wouldn't get as offended, but when you're a kid, you're vulnerable. You take things so personal. You hold people's opinions of you so highly. If a popular kid at school criticizes you or laughs at you, or if some of the guys at school get the girls to laugh at you, which they did to me, you take it like it's so personal. It's like someone's just attacked you. It's like a soul attack. Like someone, it's such a personal thing which goes straight through you, and it makes you feel ashamed. It makes you feel like you're a disgrace, like you're not good enough, like there's something wrong with you, and you feel wronged. You think they're right. You believe that they're right at the time, because they're telling you that you're not good enough, you're stupid, you're a geek. So on the verbal side of it, it starts going into your head. So you got the initial abuse, you got the name calling, the shouting, Then later on, you got the physical abuse in my school, right? You'd get punched and kicked. So it doesn't first quite sink in, right? Obviously, on the day, it hurts your feelings. But later on, you go home, you start thinking about it. And as the months go on, you start thinking about what they've said to you. And those words, they actually do kind of possess you mentally. You know, those words are swimming around. You know, that tape recorder of that incident is playing in your head. It's playing over and over again. You're seeing that person calling you that. You're seeing yourself in a movie, you know, being laughed at and everyone laughing at you, and it makes you feel stupid. So that's what happened to me initially, right? But here's the positive thing, right? In the most positive way. After going through terrible bullying and abuse at school, which I did for a certain period in school, right? I can't say the exact time. I can't say 2-3 years, but there was seasons where I was getting badly bullied. After going so low and feeling so depressed and ashamed at myself, I started to. I can't explain it logically, but something in me was so strong, like a toughness came, and I just started to fight back. I didn't care anymore, right? I obviously did care. When we say we don't care, but I overrid caring about what they thought about me. And I'm not obviously telling people to, you know, to hit people, right? Obviously there's self-defense, we'll get to that in a second. But when I was younger in my school, it was difficult, you know, the teachers didn't always stick up for you. And I didn't really like going to the teachers and saying, well, he bullied me, because when you're younger, you know, you'd be called, you know, you'd get a bad name called, you know, you told the teachers, you grasped, you're this. So I didn't go to the teachers, I just kept it to myself. But I can't tell the exact day, but after a certain point I snapped and I started standing up for myself. So when someone would say to me, you know, you're an idiot, or you're, you know, all these words they used to use when you're younger, you know, I know the words are a bit rude, but these are the words I was called. You're a pussy, you're a geek, you're an idiot, you know, you're a CUNT, you're a FCUK, you know, your mum, insult your mum, everything. After getting that so long and being scared, I'd say, who the fuck are you talking to? Shut your mouth. And then a lot of the times, the bullies would just fall apart. When I would stand up for myself, they was in shock, because it's almost like this quiet, meek-looking guy with glasses and who's socially quite timid and nervous and not a trouble and not a fighting person, and like I was a good person, right? I wasn't a saint, but I was a good kid. He's just turned into a monster. They're not expecting it, right? And they've been bullying you for a long time, right? I know a lot of you have been through what I've been through. So when you stand up to them, the shock of it, they get frightened, right? And when you keep standing up to them, socially to begin with, verbally, right, which for me was always the hardest bit, I actually found it easier to use my fists. So if someone insulted my mum at school or slapped me, I would start punching them, fighting them back, right? I'm not saying that's the solution for today. I'm just saying, telling my story. So I stood up to myself verbally to begin with, and then physically. I didn't care anymore. I wasn't starting fights, but I was fighting everyone who bullied me. I'd start fighting them, right? And most of the time, I'm not being a show off, I'm just being honest, most of the people that bullied me initially were punching me and spitting at me and calling me names. It's horrible, but this is what I went through. I knocked them out, or I got the better of them, and then they never bullied me again. After, it was like, oh, I want to be your friend, and then, you know, and stuff like that. But I didn't always have to use force. It was always self-defense. And to be quite fair, I was quite, you know, in school, I didn't really get in trouble because I wasn't the perpetrator. I was the victim, you know, to begin with, and it was self-defense. So it wasn't nice. But after going through these things and going through them hundreds of times, fights and having to get into confrontations and having to stand up for myself, and a group of people laughing at me, having to go, no, you're an idiot. No, I know my worth. I'm not an idiot. I'm not stupid. You're stupid. You know, giving it back to them, it totally started to change my, I'd say my bottle to begin with, or courage is a more accurate word, right? My confidence and my inner strength and my my care for other people, I just started to find my confidence, right? And this was a process, obviously, right? And it got to a stage, when I got to a certain stage where I think it started to show in my body language, right? I think you could see the way I was carrying myself, that I wasn't a bully myself, but I wasn't going to take any shit from anyone at school, right? And I remember points in school where I would stick up for kids that were getting bullied, right? Because I hated bullies growing up. I really hated it. Really didn't like it. Seeing what some of the kids done to the other kids, it was just barbaric, to be honest. It was just sadistic. It really was evil. And to be fair, sometimes the teachers just weren't strict enough. They were getting away with it, you know. And some teachers didn't let them get away with it. So what I'm getting at, these were a lot of the things that initially gave me this social anxiety and all these shyness and nervousness and low self-esteem. But as I left school and went to college, you know, I started to be more confident and could stand up for myself, and I wouldn't always have to get into physical affrays with people. So I'm not telling anyone on this video now to go and kick and punch people, but I'm just saying that's not the point I was trying to make, right? What I'm trying to get to is, initially bullying breaks you, it breaks you down. And as a result of that, and the consequences are, you develop social anxiety, you become socially anxious and nervous and scared. But if you don't quit, if you don't let them bring you down and keep you down, and you don't stop, and you keep going, you keep moving forward, and you keep taking action, you keep being a good person, you keep training, you keep studying, you keep whatever you're doing in life, you don't let, because that's what they want to do. At the core level, bullies are extremely insecure, right? And they're going through their own issues, right? And we can talk about compassion in a second, and forgiveness, which I did come to many years ago, right? That kind of, for most people, forgiveness comes right at the end. That's one of the hardest things to do, right? But it is a very great characteristic and something that will help everyone in the long run. But you know, leading up to that, it gave me a fire and a determination that I was never going to let someone keep me down or make me feel that I can't get a girlfriend or I can't succeed. And you know, all these things later on, that gives me the strength to do things like make YouTube videos and make me really thick-skinned to criticism or what people think, because I know what I think. I know I'm a good person. I know that I'm trying to help people, and I've got a good heart, and I'm trying to be a better person as well. And I know I'm not perfect, obviously. So their opinion doesn't mean anything to me, because if it's negative and it's nasty, it already tells me that that type of opinion doesn't carry any weight in it, because it's insecure and it's nasty and it's coming from a very negative place. But someone who's positive and caring and decent and encouraging others and not bullying, that's someone that I look up to and respect. Their opinion I'm going to hold with high regard, because it's coming from a good place, coming from being a decent person. So the learning curve for me after many years, obviously now being in my 30s, and I can go over my life and share this with people and understand what they're going through, you can't let it beat you. So I think so many people that are successful, there's lots of stars that you've seen, and there's so many boxers like Joe Calzaghe, who was bullied at school. You'd never think that. You'd never think Joe Calzaghe, a Hall of Famer, who beat Bernard Hopkins, who beat Chris Eubank, who had those great fights, beat Kessler, who achieved what he achieved, was unbelievable as a professional and amateur. And seeing the way he fights in the ring, what a warrior is, you'd never think he was vulnerable at school and got bullied, but he did. But he didn't let it stop him. So that's the encouragement, that's the message. And you know, and it's also not letting the bullies make you a nasty person, because that's very easy to do when you're younger. I went for a stage, obviously, I've had my parents and older people that cared about me, that tried to speak to me, because there was a period where I went through being angry and wanted to hurt them and get them back. But there's a point where you don't want to lower your level to that level. You want to be a better person. And I find a lot of people in life that initially been bullied, a lot of them do go on to be really kind, decent people, right? And of course, like I said, of course I forgave people that bullied me, right? I don't hold ill feelings. That was a long time ago. And obviously a lot of people change, right? And then as you get older, you understand that they might have been abused, they might have been bullied themselves, so they've obviously really suffered. So you can have compassion and you can feel for them, but at the time you're not going to be able to do that when you're younger. You're not going to understand this, and you're not going to immediately understand and have compassion when someone's making your life hell and abusing you and bullying you, right? But it's how it can drive you on. I can honestly say in my life, I would never have been able to do lots of confident things that I've done, which have helped me and other people and succeeded in many areas of my life in all different ways, right? I never would have been that person if I didn't go through the bullying. I would have actually been a person who would have been, let's say, I would have had average confidence and average level of courage and strength and inner strength and character and, you know, being able to, the things I've been through, just like all of you, mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, you know, all kinds of stuff. So to overcome the things I've overcome and been the person that I've been and continue, right? And obviously, like I said, I'm not claiming, I'm not a saint by any means. I want to be a better person. I just wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, I've given hundreds of public talks, inspired lots of young men and older men and women and men on my channel, and, you know, I've filled out rooms and given public talks, and I couldn't do that at school. You know, I used to get laughed at. I was so scared to speak at one point. But I've got to say, it's that whole kind of cliche, if I didn't get bullied, if those things didn't happen to me, I couldn't have gone on and done the things that I did later on. And I don't think I would have had the confidence to get a girlfriend and fall in love and be able to be confident with women and feel comfortable and have that connection with women. And it's such an important part of a man's life, because it's so hard what we go through, our issues and insecurities of women, and things like going in doing boxing and training, and, you know, just having character, being able to get through things, building a successful business, you know, going through failures in my life. I've failed a lot in my life in every different area. You realise, you start putting the pieces together, and everyone's got a story, and you realise, well, where I've come from, what I've been through has shaped me, and especially when you're choosing to be more positive. So, you know, that's something that I wanted to share, because I know people might be going through it, and you might be at a different point in your life where you're still healing up, still trying to get strength. So I'd say, to end with, the way you overcome all these things is, obviously, forgiveness is the best thing, right? But that's a process. Learning self-defense if you have to, so no one can be bullying you physically, kicking and punching you and stuff like that. You learn how to defend yourself, and hopefully you won't even have to get into altercations. Learning to stand up for yourself socially, which you have to do at some point. I had to learn that. I had to learn to verbally be able to, you know, have personal boundaries and not let people walk all over me and abuse me and stuff like that. So going through abuse is not a nice thing by any means. It's a horrible thing, but it can be a blessing in disguise if you use the pain and it motivates you. Now, let me just make a point. I'm trying to simplify what I'm saying. It seems like it's getting the layers and layers and layers, like an onion. For me, being bullied and having social anxiety and going through those things and overcoming it and battling and getting confident, and it made me fearless in my life. Obviously, I suffer with anxiety, I'm open about that, but it made me be able to face fears again and again and again, which the average person who maybe hasn't gone through what you've gone through and I've gone through and had that level of bullying and abuse, a lot of people, it's not a criticism, it's just an observation, you know, they won't have that fire, that courage, that confidence to go into a situation which is difficult and to act accordingly and you know, do something positive and help someone, or give a public talk, or start a business, or ask a girl out, or, you know, do a job interview, or start a podcast show, or make a YouTube video, or turn your life around, or go and give a talk to a bunch of kids and inspire them. You won't have that because you haven't gone through the suffering. You haven't suffered to a degree which so many of us have suffered, and that's the real. So that's why I'm so passionate about social anxiety. A lot of people say, why do you make so many videos on it? This is the reason why I make videos on social anxiety and how to build confidence and taking action, because I've lived all these things, and these are real things that work, that can change your life and help you to overcome these things. And overcoming bullying is about rebuilding yourself and building, you know, however we deem it. Some people say healing, that's fine, you're healing yourself. reinventing yourself. For me, it was about rebuilding my confidence and building more confidence by facing fear on a practical level. So all my fears in my life growing up, terrified of, speaking to a girl, terrified of going on first dates, petrified, absolutely terrified of going into the boxing ring and sparring, terrified of meeting new people, terrified of speaking in front of a camera, terrified of public speaking. I was able to go, right, bang, face it, bang, face it again, until I got good at it and confident. Every area, any area where I'm frightened, okay, terrified when I first started selling, didn't know how to sell, was scared of selling, money, talking to people, bang, straight on the phone. Loads of business meetings that I did and met up. I've done about 50 over a period of a few months to conquer my fear. I went on my own, kept doing it, got easier, all these things. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't be that person. I wouldn't be doing these videos. 100%, I would never be making these YouTube videos today and all the videos I've done that people appreciate if I didn't get bullied at school and I didn't go through the things that I went through, terrible things, and I've left some things out, so I'm not exaggerating. It was actually worse, my childhood with the bullying. Some of the things I went through were horrific, but I don't have to say every detail and stuff, but I did overcome it. I did beat it, and it is about facing that fear. And it's funny because it's a weird relationship, and I've been through it many times with fear and caring about what people think and rejection and shouting at people, bullying you or confrontation. You're scared of it at first, but when you keep facing confrontation, it changes. The fear turns into excitement. The fear turns into motivation, positive energy, strength, and it gives you that character. And it's, no one's invincible, but as best as we can be as humans, you become invincible to people's criticism. You don't care anymore, especially when you reach heights and you achieve your own personal goals and you succeed, and especially the failures, especially when you've tried things and you failed, but you didn't let it break you, but you got back up and you tried it again and you succeeded. So failure equals success. All these lessons that I've learned from going through these things, and obviously having good people around me now, good parents, good values. I've got to say, growing up, I didn't do all these things on my own. I did have sometimes people protecting me at school. I'd have one of the other kids stepping in, or someone around my area would stop someone bullying me. But I had to win a lot of battles. I had to face things that were, and I'm not saying what I face is any more scary than you. Everyone's own personal fears is going to be terrifying to them. So that feeling of fear and panic and being, laughed at, gave me a different character, a different drive, a different determination, an inner strength, and not ego, not fake stuff and all that. A real inner strength and inner confidence. I'd say I use the word confidence because that's like the best kind of human language to people understand. But I'd say more inner strength, and if that equates to confidence or courage, then that's fine. But an inner strength. A strength that you can call on any time in your life, because I know where to find that place of strength, because I found it so many times before. If I have to go there and get through difficult things and deal with bullies or anything, online bullying, anything like that, right? So become fearless, like, share and subscribe. I wanted to share that with people to give them some real encouragement and hope. And you're very welcome to share your story in the box below. I'll read all of them, what you've been through at school and maybe some positive changes that you've made, alright? And remember, don't go out and start trouble with people. Be a decent person. Don't bully other people. It's not a nice way to be, especially if you don't want people to do that to you. But if you are ever getting bullied, then report it, get help. Take up martial arts, MMA or boxing, tell your parents, tell the teachers, or in any environment. If you're an adult getting bullied at work, report it, stand up, don't allow anyone to do that to you, and don't let the bullying from the past ruin your future, ruin the decisions you make, or make you think in your own head, I'm dumb, I'm nothing, I'm worthless, look at what they told me, it's all nonsense. You can overcome all that and disagree with what they say. So you're saying I'm dumb, I don't agree with you, but a lot of people project. So really, you're telling me how you really feel about yourself. When you're calling me dumb or stupid or ugly or horrible, really the psychology is that's how you feel about yourself. You're projecting that onto me or other people because you feel like that, and that's unfortunate. But that's not the way to solve it. You've got to improve yourself and not push your pain or negative energy on onto other people. All right, become fearless.